Hello and welcome to Tobisonics. It is Tuesday the 6th of July 2021. I hope you all had a great weekend and had a chance to enjoy the summer weather. In this week's episode, we're going to be taking a look at how I use the Fabfilter Pro-G gate to tighten and shape my beats. According to the Fabfilter website, the Fabfilter Pro-G offers everything you could wish for. Perfectly tuned algorithms, complete control over the sidechain and channel linking, excellent metering and great interface design. In this video, we're going to be looking at using the Fabfilter Pro-G in a very specific set of circumstances. We're going to be looking at how to use it to tighten, tidy and shape your drums. And in order to do that, we're going to be breaking open the production for a track that I'm working on right now that should be the first track on my new EP that will be coming out this autumn. Before we get into it, if I could just ask you to take a moment to like the video and subscribe to my channel, that would really help me out. Thank you for taking the time. Let's start things off with the kick drum. Right now the Pro-G is in bypass and what you're listening to is just the raw production. Alright then, let's take a quick look at what we're doing with the Pro-G, but I will warn you straight up, because this is the first time we're looking at the Pro-G, I am going to have to get into one or two details. So this is going to be a little bit wordy, but bear with me, it will get quicker in the subsequent sections of this video. It's just because we're looking at it the first time. First up, the algorithm. We've got a choice of different algorithms. We're using the clean algorithm. This is the one that I find works the best when I'm trying to tighten and tidy beats. And it'll be the only one that we're using throughout this whole video. We've got the look ahead on and we've got it set to the full 10 milliseconds and we've also got the attack set to 0 milliseconds. Our hold and release are both set to 117 milliseconds. Now that's something that I'm just going to set to the BPM. The release is working in combination with the ratio and the range. The ratio here I've got set to 100 to 1 because I want that full gating effect, and the range I've got to the maximum 100 dB because again I want that full gating effect. I really want to shut the sound down. So I want my kick to fire, I want to give it enough time with the hold to have some body, and then I want it to shut down nice and clean. Finally, we've got the knee and the threshold. I've got the knee set to 4.2 dB, so that's giving me a fairly clean, fairly kind of snapped in sound on the kick. And the threshold is set at minus 8.4 dB. And the reason I'm doing that is I want to make sure that I'm cutting out any unnecessary lows. All right then, let's do a quick compare and contrast. We're going to do one rep with the Pro-G in bypass, and then I'm going to drop in the Pro-G so you guys can hear the difference. I've also brought the bass line back in for a bit of context. So when I drop the Pro-G out of bypass, have a listen to what it does for the bass line. As soon as we take the Pro-G out of bypass, two things happen. Firstly, the kick gets punchier and tighter, much more defined in the mix. And secondly, the bass cuts through much better, particularly in those lows, by cleaning out those unnecessary lows. Both kick and bass are benefiting immensely. And the great thing about it is it's a really simple thing to do. We haven't quite finished with the kick and the gate just yet. So right now what we've got is that original kick that we worked on before, but we've added two dubs. We've added an octave down dub and we've added an octave up dub. And I've got the Pro-G sitting on both of those, but right now it's in bypass. Alrighty then, let's take a quick look at what we're doing here, and I promise it will actually be quick this time. The setup of the Pro-G is exactly the same as it was before on both of the tracks. No need to go through any of that again. Phew. You're relieved, I'm relieved. The only difference is we've got the sidechain option going. And the way you set up a sidechain is going to vary from DAW to DAW. In Cubase, the way you do that is you select it up here, we turn it on, and then we click this button and now we can select our sidechain, and you can see we're using the mid kick sample that we were listening to before to trigger these sidechains. But, and this is important, you have to do one more thing in the Pro-G to make sure your sidechain is working. You have to open up this expert panel, go to the sidechain and select external. So as I said before, the setup is exactly the same for both of the gates. The only difference is that we're using the mid kick, the sample that we were listening to before, to trigger both of the gates. Why are we doing that? We're doing that because when you pitch things up or down, you shift them about a little bit. The transients become misaligned. The sustain isn't quite the same. What the gate is going to do for us is it's going to tighten those two things up and really kind of snap them together with our mid kick. As soon as we drop the Pro-Gs in, immediately the kick just gets that little tighter. Those low and high levels just kind of bed in and snap to the mid kick, and it just feels tidier. It is not the difference between night and day. It's not. I'm not pretending it is, but it's just making it that little bit tidier. It's just going to help your kick sit right there in the middle. You're building your house on firm foundations. There it is. Cliche for the day. Let's have a listen to the hi-hat. We're doing something a little bit more with the gate. We're actually shaping the fundamental sound of the hi-hat. All right, so you see then, let's have a quick look at what we're doing with the Pro-G, and I do mean quick this time. So quite a few of the settings are the same or similar. So we've got, again, we're on the clean algorithm. Look ahead is at 10 milliseconds. We've got 0 on the attack, and we've got our ratio set all the way up to 100, and our range is at 100 dB as well. They're all pretty much the same. And again, we've got our threshold set fairly high, not quite as high with the kick. It's at minus 10.5 dB. So it's 2.1 dB quieter or lower than it was with the kick, but still pretty high. Let's have a look at where things are different though, and that's with the hold, the release, and the knee. You can see there the hold is at 14.5 milliseconds. That is much, much faster than it was with the kick. Why? Because that hi-hat is firing on and off much more quickly. So we don't want a long hold. We want to try and catch in between those individual snippets of hi-hat. And the release too, even faster, 7.25 milliseconds. So we're shutting it down with that really high ratio, that really high reduction. We're shutting the sound down very, very quickly. And then, of course, we've got a short release so we can catch the next hi-hat hit. The knee. Now, the kick was at 4.2 dB. Here we are at 1.5 dB. It's much, much sharper. Why? Because, again, we want that hi-hat to be really kind of clean and kind of spanking in and smacked in like that. And you can hear straight off that we're making a big difference to the overall shape of the hi-hat. We're cleaning it right out. We're kind of stripping it back to its kind of bare kind of rhythmic fundamentals. And it's helping to really show off what that auto pan is doing for the hi-hat. All right then, let's bring it all together. We'll run the bass, the kick, and the hi-hat. We'll do 1 rep with the Pro-G in bypass, and then I'll drop all the Pro-Gs in so you guys can hear the difference. So there we have it again. We have that immediate kind of clarity that comes into the kick, tightens it up. The bass starts to sit up better as well, starts to cut through the mix better. And then we've got that shaping and that control from the gate on the hi-hat that is really helping to bring out that stereo movement from the auto pan. It's also helping the top of the bass and the kick sit up in the mix. Really simple tricks that anyone can do to help just clean up the kind of fundamental foundations of your productions. If you enjoyed this week's episode, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to my channel. It really does help me out. Thank you for taking the time. Now, usually at this stage of the video, I will say something like, if you want to hear today's production in context, my new single is out. But I can't say that because this isn't out yet. If you want to make sure that you do catch it when it does come out, you can follow me on your favorite streaming platform or on Bandcamp. There's a link in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about today's video or any of my productions, feel free to ask in the comments below, or you can catch me via social media at Tobisonics. And until next Tuesday, good night and good noise, stay safe and stay healthy.